Well, here we are. Pretty much the end of the series here, the Randomtown. In fact, just to make sure that this we can kind of get there quickly, I'm going to put it on 10x. I understand that our clothing situation is not ideal, but hopefully they'll be going down slower now that we put in this tailor with the warm coats. But tools should be fine to finish us out. Food should be good. 21,000 with just about 300 people. So pretty good. I don't think I'll be trading for any more new seeds. We have plenty of seeds. In fact, we're running out of places to put farmland. So I'm not super worried about this kind of stuff now. I mean, I guess we could get like the plum seeds or the chestnut seeds because we have the other two. I mean, if we did the plum seeds, then we could make an orchard, a plum orchard. But I'm not really fussed with it. I'm just gonna kind of let it go. If there's some kind of seed that comes in that's like something that I feel like would add something to the playthrough, then I may trade for it, but probably not. So yeah, I thought maybe part of what I would do with this last video is just kind of give a bit of a city tour, and instead of titling it, episode blah 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 of Randomtown, I'm gonna try to do one of those videos. And if you clicked on this, you'll be seeing what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna try to do one of those things that says I used RNG to create my settings. This is what I built in 50 years on Banished, something along those lines. So I'm gonna do a little tour here. We have plenty of animals, so I'll do it chronologically. When we opened episode 1, we were down here. This is our starter barn right here, this medium barn. We started with this barn, and my first inclination, even though that was to immediately put in a couple fields here. But then I put in this forest node. Interestingly enough, this is our only standard forest node in the game, and actually I've altered it, but this was a gatherer and a hunter at the beginning, and I immediately built this road up and made this our downtown. I knew that this little area down here wasn't going to be big enough, but I knew that it would work for a little agricultural outpost, which is what it's been. And in fact, I think it was just last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, I added some of these fields down here to make it even more. And we put in a little market and a couple houses just so that we have workers for these fields, at least some of them. And then I ended up swapping out the hunter and put in an apiary instead, and I can explain that if you so choose. But up here, my original downtown was just, these were the first houses that I built, these right across here. And because we did like a medium style start that came with seeds and some basics, because it was a medium start, I had several families. I'm used to doing things like the Adam and Eve start or the Genesis start with just a couple families. So this was cool. And so I built these houses and these 2 buildings pretty early on. And as soon as I possibly could, we got across the road. And I'll pick up the narrative there in a minute. Oh, chickens. We have lots of those. So, I mean, this was packed, right? I mean, it was just dense forest, like, well, those are not good examples of dense forest. It all looked like this, just dense forest with stone and metal all over the place. So we initially had to go like little bits at a time, clearing out. But we got the road over here, and then one of the things that has made this playthrough unique is the terrain. And I know there's a flatten tool, but I made the decision early on that we would work with the terrain, just as something to make it so it didn't just look like a grid. So we left this hill, we left this hill, we left this pretty good sized hill over here. And I think it has made it a more entertaining playthrough because of that. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think. Oh, goats. We don't need them, but that's cool. Alright, so then once we crossed over here, I was, I didn't want to just start slapping down houses and stuff because our market for these houses, did I not even ever put in a market for them? That's odd. I don't usually have, or here it is. Yeah, here it is. So our market for these houses was small, and it wasn't going to extend up here. So my next idea was to put a marketplace, a bigger one, up here to kind of claim this whole area so it could be settled. And I did that, and we just kind of slowly kept clearing. And I think I put, I don't know what houses were first. Maybe these ones around the market. I usually do that. That's a butcher, not a market, but you get the idea. Some of these houses here. And once we got going, we had to do things like get the fisherman down, and we had the hunter there. And it became abundantly clear to me that I was going to need farming, but I was also going to need another food solution. And I built this road around. We wanted to get the town hall down so I could follow the stats. If you guys play this, you know how important it is to keep track of all your stats. I particularly like keeping track of the family to home ratio. It got out of control in this playthrough because I had to slow down expansion because we were running out of space. But this is, one of those metrics you want your population to look like this, right? Maybe without the dip, but just constantly going up. You don't want your population to spike because then it'll spike down. Let's check this real quick. Okay, more seeds. I don't want any of those. So then, anyways, we ended up building a road around, and then I built another bridge instead of trying to go here, because this didn't really line up perfectly, and I wasn't sure if the people would walk down this way. So I just went around here, and then I built the bridge across, and we put in this iron mine, which has been an absolute trooper. Coal. The first mine we built was this one down here. This is the iron mine. And it's really surprising to me how well it has held up. Let me get some trees. We're going to run out of wood. Do that. See if there's any firewood laying around. So, yeah, we put in this one. We set up this little iron ore, and then the foundry, and then making tools. So look at that. I was bragging about how tools were not going to be a problem, and we're down to less than 20 tools. Jeez. And firewood is a problem. That's crazy. You didn't bring me tools? Of course not. Well, there's not really much I can do about the tool problem. There's not really much space to build another can build a let me put one. That's fine. It looks a little bit wonky. Could I put it? I might be able to put a regular one there. I guess we'll do that. I mean, I don't think it's going to help much. But we built over to here, and I wanted to get coal going. Coal really helps with the... Oh, we don't have any wood. Yeah, tool crisis. Why do I have to say stupid things like, oh, that won't be a problem? Just so that it can definitely become a problem. Alright. So we built over to here and just put a few houses in. I got the coal thing going, coal mine going. We put in this tunnel, and we have these two foresters, grapes down here, and quinces, which are sort of like pears. So we have those going. But, you know, we put in a church and cemetery, got lots of different housing. I like to do different types of housing, like not all the same exact type. So I did a bunch of these lumber houses with the different colors, and then I did a few brick mixed around up here too. I tried to do different brick. And then I built this house with this sort of implied storyline in my own head that, you know, maybe the guy, the merchant that owns this, maybe he also owns the flour mill here. But, you know, if he's a wealthy merchant making money off of every trade, of course he's going to have a fancier house than everybody else. That's my little story. Gosh, clothes are down too. This game, keep you humble. But we had a nice little, you know, production chain going, and we have a few different food production chains going in these old barn pubs. Here we have smoked meat, onions, and wine making meals, and we have almost 2,000 meals. It's pretty crazy. So, you know, the smokery, we have a tavern here making mead, and a tavern here making the wine that they're using for those meals. This old barn pub is making bison steak, tomatoes, and mead for meals, and they have almost 2,000 meals. So those are really, really good for efficiency. If you're new to the RedKetchup mod, that's something I definitely recommend. We don't need food. We need tools. Did you bring tools? You did not bring any tools. I will buy your charcoal, though. I'm just going to do 100 of these because I think that's wise. Okay, just need value of 200. We'll take that charcoal. That should help with alleviating that issue. Oh, pie. We haven't made any pie. Let's get a couple. Let's get 100 pies. And we will pay for our 100 pies with 50 stone. Alright. That's good. So where was I? Tools are low, yada yada. I could have requested tools, but I mean, what is a Bluebelly playthrough without a sea of yellow? Also, let's see if they built this one. They did. Okay, let's do 2 people there. Did I click 3? No, we're good. And we want them to make probably steel. I think we should have enough coal coming in for that. We have 98 laborers. That's one thing that I am sometimes bad about, is maxing out the workers. I have a lot of laborers around to do stuff, and I don't maximize my laborers. I don't know if this would help us get more logs, considering we only got 50 logs all of last year. But we could always try it. If we get 150 logs the next year, then it's worth it. They went through 300 charcoal just that fast. Or maybe I'm thinking of two different things. Anyways, hopefully the charcoal on hand will help with heating homes. Sheep and freezing cows. Yeah, so let me hop back to my narrative of, city center, yada yada, expansion. And then once we started having extra money, we could buy more seeds, which is where we went up here. We expanded animal pens, fields here, fields here. We have a few sprinkled in the middle. I think this was our first not starter field, this one up here. And then we had our little dock expansion. We didn't have quite this many at first. It was just basically a dock that came out to have this fisherman, because the fish is crazy when you're out in the middle and there's not a bunch of stuff around it. When you're fishing from the shoreline, you're automatically half, right? There's only half of the area. But when you're out here, it's the whole area. And that area of effectiveness is coded into this. I had thought about maybe continuing out here and doing another one, but you get to a certain point where you're how much fish are we really going to need? I like to have food variety in the form of different crop types. I mean, there's so many in the game. I just think it's a cool thing to do. You don't have to play that way. That's just something that I find interesting. One of my favorite things about Banished is there are some metas. There are some things that people will say that is the way to play, but you can solve your problems with this game in many different ways. For example, you can just run out of tools and clothes, and apparently the game keeps going. Sorry, I know that upsets people. When I play like this, hide coats, shields, wool coats, copper tools. Let's go. I will do all of the lumber for those, and then we'll do 50 of those and 50 of those. I should be able to get close. Or way over. That's interesting. I was not anticipating that. I'm just bad at math is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we don't need all that stone anyways. Alrighty. Linen. We're producing linen. We're fine on linen. That's why we're trading away flax, because we have so much. Okay, well. I did do the tool deal, right? Because the lumber's still here. I hope that I did that right. I mean, all the tool... I hope I did that right. Anyways, so I think that pretty much covers it. I would say the last expansion, pretty close to the last one, came down into this agricultural area, and then I was just kind of padding out on the edges. The last houses I built in the last episode were these up here. This was a nice little, I don't know what you'd even call it, because this covered the main area, and then I was very careful to put this here so that we would have extra housing for some of these jobs on the periphery. And we finished this expansion pretty close to the end as well. Okay, I'm gonna just go iron tools. We're clearly having logistics problems with our coal, so I'll have to make iron tools for now. Yeah, so 2 churches, 3 schools. We did 2 as like traditional school building schools, these 2 right here, which it's not strategic, but I didn't have many places to put this by that time. But the other one is actually a library over here. These corner buildings in the RedKetchup pack. Very sweet. Of course it's raining for this, but very sweet design. You know, obviously I didn't build the rest of the row houses, but you can do, you know, 2-story row housing this way. And the way he did the plus on the roof, it allows you to really go any direction, but you could go this way as well and have this truly be a corner building as on a part of a big city block. I tend not to build that way. It's just, I'm just lazy, I guess. But that is the design for them to be truly corner buildings. Oh, look at, we're in summer 49. It's almost year 50. Almost quitting time. Food. We do not need food. We need tools. We have a lot of this, though. We have quinces, and we don't have pork. We have beans, shrimp, scallops. We can make quiche. I don't know if we're currently making quiche. I think we're making bread in the bakery. Yeah, I never changed the recipe from bread. You can make cakes, apple pie, cherry pie, pecan pie, omelets, and quiche. We would have the stuff to make really any of those, but not pecan or cherry pie. But I think we have apples. I just never, I don't know. Never got that going, and all of our honey is being used to make mead. We have other fruits, though. We could switch and make wine or one of the ales. There's a lot we could do. Just not a big reason for it. This stone quarry put in work. I think I had 2 quarries. Didn't I have one right across the... No, I didn't. For some reason, this playthrough, we just didn't have a stone problem. A lot of times, stone is a big issue, and we just didn't have a stone problem. I'm not really adding on to anything, but I'm still gonna get rid of the lumber in there, just in case. You know, sometimes. Alright, I'm gonna do the same thing here. I know iron tools are not as durable, but we gotta do something. I can't sit there waiting on coal all day, every day. Alright, autumn 49, about to be the official end of the playthrough. Watch the busyness of the marketplace for a little bit. Here they go, bringing stuff, picking stuff up. Such a fascinating game. I think it's funny that I ridicule other games for their graphics and like the art style. Like the people in these other games are just too cartoony. And then you look at Banished, this game that I have hundreds and hundreds of hours on. I love it. I enjoy it. To this day, I still enjoy playing it. And clearly, like, they're cartoon characters as well. But for some reason in my brain, it's cooler like this. It's better like this. I can't imagine the work that went into making a game like this, though, because every one of these little characters is simulated, right? They all have their own pathfinding. They have to go to their jobs. They have to make sure that their jobs have the substances that they need to make the thing that they make. They do the job, but they have to stop and go home for lunch, and they have to stop and go home in the evenings. It's crazy. This market is out of tools. I just saw 2 people walk in with the tool thing over their head and not get one. Look at this. We have 104 laborers. All those kids are getting old. And I really have been slowly adding to the population in this playthrough as well. If we didn't run out of space, I mean, I could just level mountains, right? I could just use the flatten tool if I cared about population, but I would have also picked a different map size. So for those of you that we just hit year 50, so I'm going to wrap this up. For those of you that didn't hear me talk about it in the last episode or the one before that, for our next challenge, I'm going to borrow an idea from longtime channel supporter Carrie, and I'm going to do a playthrough where we try to get to 1,000 people, 1,000 population. So if you'd like to see that, I will be using a large map, and either this mod pack or Colonial Charter, I haven't decided which one. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe to the channel. You should see the first video for that new challenge here the next week, maybe 2. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Bluebelly. This is the Bluebelly Gaming channel. I like to play simulation games with intelligent simulation and a relaxed atmosphere. And I'm glad to have you at the channel. Bye for now.